What is it? It's a Godox V860 II. It's a tool of a photographer, not as clumsy or random as a on-camera light. A more elegant flash of a more civilized time. That's right, you guys. Today we are giving a first look at the Godox V860 II. Now, we're not only going to be looking at the Godox V860 II, we're going to be looking at the trigger for the Godox, the X1T 2.4GS, made by Godox as well, and a couple other things. And this is a first look. We've only done 2 photo sessions with this setup right here, and I'm going to show you footage from those sessions as we talk about this here Speedlite. Now, the basic setup with the V860 II is about $229 on Amazon. That comes with a rechargeable battery, the charger for it, some filters you can put up on top to change your light tones, and the trigger itself, the X1T, is an additional $69. So for about $300, you get a rechargeable strobe that will speed match with this trigger with your Sony. So you can take photos beyond that 1/200th of a second, which with a normal strobe setup you have to worry about because the shutter will get in the way and then you'll have a black line, and we've talked about it before on the channel. Now, the accessory kit that we used for the 2 portrait sessions we did, one with Ariana and one with Shaylin. The Shaylin one will be out in a week or 2. But with the accessory kit we were actually using with that wasn't just the Godox strobe with the trigger. We actually had a really nice octagon softbox with it, and then a special mount for this, and I'm going to show you guys those really quick.
She wants to run away from small town USA. Her feet are so itchy, take her any which way. She don't wanna be
So as you can see, we have the Godox here. We have the adapter, which allows us to put the Godox in here, which means that we can mount this to a light stand, and then we're able to use this huge Godox softbox. And I'm gonna show you guys how to put this together really quick. It's super, super easy with this setup. You take your Godox, you wanna make sure that you have this facing outwards so you can do the controls. Simple enough, you put it in there, you tighten the clamp, just like that. Bring it down so that way you can control it while it's up. And there you have a setup that will work with a softbox. Now, this softbox right here has that mount right there. And that allows me to take the Godox, line it up, turn it, and there you go. We now have a very large softbox made by Godox that fits our Godox Speedlite.
living from paycheck to rain check. She was on the floor. She's going straight home to stare at the ceiling, hoping for more. One day she'll say, hail, hail, Cabby, no more Hail Marys as it rains and hails down. Big city lights light her way on the runaway run.
Now, I actually had a little bit of difficulty with this when I first got started with it. The traditional strobes that I've been using in the studio videos that I've made for the channel, the X calipers have a really nice knob on the back that I can move it up and down in order to figure out exactly how much light intensity I want. I have been going through and learning this menu right here to try to figure out how to adjust that, and I've kind of figured it out. I need to download the manual for this and really read through exactly how to use this. So as you probably saw in some of the photos that I've shown before, probably the first 7 or 8 photos, is they may have seemed a little overexposed, a little bit harsh in lighting. And that's because I was trying to figure this all out and using some camera tricks I knew, but I couldn't quite get it tuned in. So I did a little bit of Googling. I watched a couple of YouTube videos. I figured out just about enough to get the Speedlite to work where I wanted it to, where the more high quality images I'm going to show in this next portion are coming from.
Away from home. Stuck on the typewriter, never was a fighter. Held back for dollars and cents, tied down by hometown folks. They never gave her the time she never saved a dime.
Now, $229 seems a little bit steep for a Speedlite. I'm not generally a fan of Speedlights on camera. And the reason for that is, as we discussed in my snow photography video, which I'm going to link right up there, is it can create some pretty harsh light. And there are tricks to mitigate that, bouncing off the ceiling, bouncing off of a wall. Flashcards work really, really well. They even make tiny softboxes. But that wasn't the reason why I bought the V860 II. The reason I bought the V860 II is because I can buy any other Godox product and put them in sequence with one another to use that one trigger that I showed you earlier, that X1TS. That trigger can fire multiple of these Speedlights off all at once, and you can even sequence them to go off at different intervals or different speeds and all that, and you can control all of that through the trigger itself, which I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to do, which is why this isn't a review. This is a first look. This has been kind of a learning curve for me. Now, the reason why I have decided to go with these when I have a set of strobes here at the house and I have a set of strobes at the studio, the reason why I ended up going this route is because I wanted something mobile. I have been doing a lot of outdoor photography the last 2 years, which we discussed in last week's video. I'll link that one right up there. And so I haven't really been able to show off what I'm really capable of, especially with studio lighting. And so I figured we can try and do some mobile evening, blue hour, and nighttime photography, but I'll need something mobile. And I'll need something mobile, something battery powered for strobes. And then I learned that the Sony A7 III doesn't need a whole lot of help when it comes to evening photography. I have 2 videos about that. I'll link both of them down in the description. One is why you want a black mist filter, and the other one is the Samyang 50mm f1.4 review. I'll have those linked down below. So this is kind of my first look of this. So far, I really do like this Speedlite. There's one reason why, and one reason I can say that for a fact, this one is definitely worth more than the bargain price Neewers. I can definitely say, though, that the leap up from the Neewer Speedlite on this might make that price worth it, and I don't feel quite as bad about paying that much after I was able to do this speed sequence with it.
Okay, every time the flash goes off.
as you can see, there was little to no recharge with this Speedlite. I literally just went click, 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 and it did not recharge. Now, my Excaliburs require recharge time. My newer Studio Light requires recharge time. I don't even think the Alien Bs that I have will actually fire off that quickly and that consistently. So this one might prove to be more than worth any of the other studio lighting systems out there in the price range. When you're starting to talking about like Broncolors, the Broncolors are like, it's like $2,000 for a lithium ion battery powered one, but those things are absolutely amazing. I've had the privilege of using the Broncolors in the past, and absolutely, if we can ever afford those, we're gonna get them. But an upgrade from my studio lights might be in these here strobes, these V860 IIs made by Godox, these little speed lights. Now, yes, I can put it on top of the camera and I can go out and do that, but I would not do it without some sort of thing blocking this. It is a really, really, really harsh light. I am not a huge fan of how harsh the lighting of this thing is. I'm gonna fire it. You see that tungsten flash behind me? It's not a very pretty light. You don't really want it aimed at you. You don't really want to take photos with it because it creates really harsh shadows, really harsh lines, and really harsh blown out areas, though the Sony seems to have enough leeway in editing that even those earlier photos turned out pretty well. So I guess that really leaves us with one last question. Do I think it's worth $229 or $300 with the trigger? Honestly, I can say I think it is. I could be proven wrong. You'll know when I know, because I will release a review about it. The fact that it's rechargeable, the fact that its recharge time is basically zero, and the fact that they make so many accessories that allow me to possibly change out my studio lights for these. It's a rechargeable battery, so it can be mobile. I can take it with me out when I'm doing urban photography, or if I'm doing nature photography or anything like that. I can bring this with me to really black out the background if I'm taking photos during the day, or really pop the model out if I'm doing a sunset or blue hour photos. So honestly, I do not feel ripped off by the Godox V860 II's price. I think for what it is, that's a pretty good price. And I think that proper studio strobes in the same price range probably won't perform as well as this guy here does. Especially the fact that it's mobile. I can stick it on top of my camera if I need to. If I don't have the infrastructure for light stands or anything like that and I need to go really, really light, this would not be a big deal to use at all. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed my first look at the Godox V860 II. If you guys like this kind of content, please subscribe. Please like, comment, and share if you enjoyed this video. I do have a Patreon. I'll have a link for that down below. You'll be able to get some exclusive access as well as access to updates, news, and projects that I'm working on. And at 5,000 subscribers, I am giving away a Nikon D5100 with a Yongnuo 50mm lens. I'll have my most recent video about that linked right up there, and I'll catch you all on the flip side. Bye.